Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Transcend with M. And I am super excited because I'm with Latasha, your favorite neighborhood girl. She has it right there on her name, and I am super excited to hear her story. And I hope that those listening today are excited too. So, Latasha, I am not going to take the light away from you. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself to our audience so they can get to know you a little bit better. How about that?
Sure, that sounds fair. Um, I am Latasha Hughes. I am a native of Worcester, born and raised here. My parents, Jimmy and Lula Hughes, both came from Alabama. My mom from Butler, very, very small town. My dad from Tuscaloosa, a little bigger. um, I attended primary, right? Elementary, high school. I'm a North High Polar Bear, so cheers to North High for winning the championship. Yeah, that's happened twice in my lifetime. I don't know that I should expect it again, but I remember younger
Very
being in
nice.
high school that, yeah, I think the senior class before me when I was a freshman had won. So that's how long ago that was. We're not going to play the
Wow.
age game, but yeah.
That's
So,
that's amazing.
yes. Worcester State alum, urban studies and community development was my major. Loved it there. Such a great quality education, local. I went back to acquire my bachelor's after getting my associate's directly after high school. So I went back as a mom with three kids. So that was a challenge, but also a great opportunity to show my children firsthand what it meant to structure your life around the things that you want,
Yeah.
right? So my son was in Spanish class with me at Worcester State at 5. The students just kept getting younger and younger. The
Yeah.
professors were very accommodating. I just knew early on I never wanted my children to be my crutch, if that makes
Mm.
sense. I never wanted
Mhm.
them to feel like they're my shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I made a plan and I stuck to it and I just made it happen. So yeah, and that meant dragging them to class with me sometimes.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Like it
Right, and
is,
it
it
worked.
is your way is your way and doesn't have to be anybody else's but your own. So, congratulations. That's and each one of us have to do what we have to do in order to achieve things that we want or that we need, right? It's not only about what we want, it's about what we need as well, right? So,
Exactly. Yeah.
so Latasha,
Hmm.
tell the audience why is the reason we're talking here today. Like, you are this amazing light. You have a gift of making people laugh and make people forget for a moment,
For a
about
moment.
all their
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah.
You show up anywhere that people need you. Um, so tell us why we are showcasing your story here today.
Well, we're showcasing my story here today for the hopes that I can inspire someone else, much like myself, to do the same. Everyone has a story, just like everyone has a dream, right? But somehow between our life happenings and the things we want to be or the things that we aspire to do, life happens and there are hurdles and then there are setbacks and then somehow we change the way, or I should say the world makes us change the way that we look at ourselves, and somehow the feeling of shame, being unworthy, that doesn't happen for me, or that's not for me. It's us, they, them kind of a thing.
Yeah.
um, those people get the good things, though they're supposed to be successful.
Hmm.
I am you. I
Yeah.
am you. And we're here today to share my story in hopes that I can inspire someone to bring their kids to class if you wanted
Yeah.
that and you happen to have some littles. And let me tell you the story behind that.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I graduated high school. I went directly to college. I was the oldest of the household, so that was the rule. It was not an option. College was a definite. I tried to find a fast track, and I got an associate's degree, which was cool. My mom bought it. It was all right. I got an associate's degree in medical administration, right? I can run the front and back office, small office procedures, whatever. Never got a job in it. Fell in love with social services. But again, it's the power of education, right? So once you have it, no one can take it, and it just kind of flipped. So I
Yeah.
ended up being a residential case manager for the Key program in Worcester.
Mm.
That was great. But then I started a family and things got expensive. And I
Mm.
remember going into the staff office, and they'd always put job postings up or things, trainings and advancement opportunities. And I kept seeing these jobs. I'm like, oh, I'm all over this job. I got the skills, I've got the ability. I could do this, but I also saw the money, and I'm like, this is what I need to, that little bump,
Yeah.
take care of my family and be okay. And I realized that my AS was insufficient with my associate's
Mhm.
degree in science. I needed a BS. So it kind of rubbed me sideways, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This small letter is what's keeping me from what I need to secure
Mm.
finances for my family, to make me happy with the career that I'm establishing in social services, and my
Yeah.
ability to move upward with the agency that I was working for. So that was the catalyst. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm so great, I went to Worcester State and I have, there was a push and a pull, and there was
Mhm.
a decision to be made. And I made that decision. I remember going, and I had three small children under 5 at the time.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I
Wow.
told my my boyfriend at the time, because we weren't even married yet. We were completely backwards. We met, we had children, we bought a house, then we got married. Yeah.
I did that
So,
too.
di- okay. So nothing about me is perfect, as you can see already. But I remember telling him, I just woke him up out of his sleep. I was like, I'm going back to school. And he was just like, what are you talking about? I'm just like, I'm going back to school. Don't worry about it. Everything that I am doing now, I'll continue to do. This is on me. And I literally, that it was on me. So I talked to my boss. I started a pilot program at Worcester State for urban studies. I flipped my day shift to night shift, and I worked night full time. I went to school full time in the day. I had three children under 5, and it was a rocket. If I were to have thought about what I was doing, I probably would have fell over and been so overwhelmed I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
But I ran my house like a small business. My time was very valuable. Everything was on schedule, and that was just the way it had to be in order for me to fit everything in. So with that
Yeah.
said, I'm the wrong person to tell that you don't have time to do something. You know what I mean? Like, I have no
You
tolerance.
make the
What do
time.
you
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. It's like, oh no, sis, you can schedule that out. You know what I mean? It's like I'm
Yeah.
kind of begging for the old Tosh now, because I'm a little discombobulated, and you'll learn more why. Um, Probably because I got too much on my plate and I'm running out of daylight. That's why, because I'm all over the place, right? Um,
Uh,
but yeah, so there was a push and pull in that, and there was sacrifice in that. There was a lot of hard work, but dedication, and I pulled through. So again, you can do anything you put your mind to and that you plan for. And again, it starts with reaching out, knowing that you deserve it. And there's help out there, there's support. For folks that are 25 and over, there are grants for what they call non-traditional student. Those are money specifically for someone that is 25 and older, and those are set for folks that have tasted life. So they already know that you've graduated high school and you've tried life, and you've probably got a job or two if you've been dancing around, and you know that that's not enough and you need more. They consider you a viable asset because now you're a serious student, and the likelihood of you graduating at a very high um, GPA is almost automatic, because again, you've already kind of fumbled around. You found yourself a little bit more focused than some of our younger folks. So again, don't think again with age that you can't do this,
mhm.
And speaking
Mhm.
of age, I stepped out into comedy in my 40s.
I know.
A lot of
Oh,
nerve.
you're so great. So, anyways, let's just hear that part of the story.
Right. So for forever, I've been told I was funny. You should do comedy. You should kind of just like, witty with words. I get that from my mom. My dad's kind of quick with his too, but my mom she was a character.
Yeah.
I recently lost her like four years now. I think it's been.
Mhm.
Um, Not a day goes by I don't think about
Think
her or
about her.
whatever. But it just I want to say it gets easier with time. We just learn how to manage that loss.
Yeah.
And she's anyone that's lost a parent knows and understands like what
Hmm.
struggle for words. There are no real words to explain it, but
Right.
it is such a huge change or shift in life. But
Yeah.
yeah, so after being told forever that I should, I was just then all of a sudden I saw this thing at the mansion before it became New Esters, which is now my new brunch space. But it was the mansion, it was a comedy mansion. Nikki Luparelli ran it at the time, and I went just to check it out. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to jump into it. I just saw a couple shows, and then I was like, I could do this. You know, like you just kind of like see it. Like representation
Yeah.
really is everything, right? So if you can kind of see it and imagine yourself there, I was like, I'm going to give it a try. So I went to Alabama because we had a family reunion with my dad, and Nikki messages me that I had gotten a spot. I could go in. This was for June, and I had asked my dad if we could leave. You know what I mean? On time. Like we got to get out so we can get there on time. We didn't. We didn't. And she had a penalty. You got put in the bullpen.
Oh no.
Yeah, if you booked and you didn't show up, I was on the road from Alabama. There was no way I was beating all these 18 wheelers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're road dogs, so we took the car. We like make this whole adventure out of going down.
Yeah.
So I flubbed that, and I was in the bullpen. So with that, you can't perform for like a month. You got a month like of suspension or whatever. So I did, of course, explain to her whatever, and she put me on the next show in August. So August was my cherry popping moment, and I did such a great job. She pulled me to the side and deeply encouraged me not to stop. Wrote down
Yeah.
every open mic that was in the city, the time when it was happening, whatever. So I got on the stage on Tuesday. I went back on the stage at Wild Willie's on Wednesday, and I just kept going, and I've not gotten off since.
Yeah. I remember Wild Willie's.
See?
It was a good spot. It was a good
Yeah,
spot. What
they're
they
great
have something
chili.
else there right now, like an Italian
There's some
place.
kind of wings, or it
Yeah.
might be pizza. I don't know. I
Yeah,
can't
it's like
remember.
Italian and then wings over Worcester is on the
Okay,
other side.
right,
Yeah,
right.
I haven't been since they shut it down, but
Yeah.
interesting. So tell me about, so now we're achieving, right? We are achieving, we executed, we are achieving. Went to college, graduated as an adult, as a mother,
Mhm.
as a girlfriend or companion, or you were able to manage all these things, and now we're tapping into passion, right?
Right,
So tell me a little bit about managing career, passion, and incorporating the family, incorporating you as a woman, because that's a lot to juggle, right? And not a
right,
lot of people um know or learn how to intertwine all the things that make them exceptional, right? Or that
right,
they really want to do. So,
right.
and we will come back to your comedy career in just a second, because
Oh,
I
sure.
I
Yeah.
I do have like a sentence that you said in the comedy show that I really want to dig into it. So, anyways, so
Okay.
tell me more a little bit about that part of your story. How did you made it work, basically?
Right. So, um, honestly, it took, again, everything took time, right? So, full disclosure, I started with three. I'm a mother of five. Um, and with that said, for the longest time, I kind of quote unquote did the right things per se. Yes,
Yeah.
with my education, I stretched myself for the financial security of my family and the up movement of my career.
Hmm.
It made sense, but that was the thing to do, right?
Right.
So as my older children started to become adults, there was a point again. My age has it speaks to like 40. It was kind of like, what else is there, right?
Hmm.
So I was in social work for over 20 years, and everybody that knows that if you're in a space of service, you have to constantly recreate yourself, if that makes
Mm,
sense. And usually, as you're recreating yourself, you're getting away from the reason why you started. Because as you start advancing in level in that career, you start to remove yourself from the clients, direct care,
mhm,
and you're
mhm.
doing more administrative and facilitation and and all that
Yeah,
stuff. And it was okay until it wasn't, right? So then
yeah.
I utilized, see, this is the power of education, the administrative medical associate's degree that I had never left. I flipped that degree and I moved into the medical field. I worked for Shrewsbury, I call it Southgate over Shrewsbury now because they're a retirement community. I was the admissions coordinator there. So I was helping elders transition from their
Mhm.
home to long-term care, whatever those needs were. And that was fascinating because it was a flip, right? But then
Yeah.
my mom got sick
Mm,
and there was a life change. Then I started to value my time again, back to the, kind of what that was my premise before. Now it's about my time. And it really made me think about what was important to me in my life. And after 4 years of doing an outstanding job with them, developing a dementia unit and just, great, making all these great hurdles with Shrewsbury Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, I had to walk away. And I made a conscious decision I was going to take care of my mom. And here's the thing, I had no plan. I had
mm,
no plan. I literally quit my job and in faith walked off and took care of my mom. In the interim, of course, I had severance package and whatever, because people are like, well, how can you just walk off your job? There were financial subsidies again that came along with it, but the solid decision came with far less than what I was getting, but
mhm,
always made, if that makes sense. So with that, I started getting curious and reintroducing myself to me.
mm,
So my passion overrode the finances because at this point I only have two young children at home. I don't have the full load. I don't need as much money per se. I don't need to prove myself to anyone else. I've already quote unquote climbed the ladder and repositioned myself and held master level positions in social work, even not if I started my master's and never finished it. But so that part was pretty much done, right? So I'm closing those chapters and I'm opening these new chapters. And with that, I just started back to me. You be amazed what you can do when you write things down. That's how I did it. I bought a basic planner, nothing expensive, nothing crazy, the ones with the time blocks, and I literally blocked myself off. And I'm big on color coding. Color coding is awesome, and I think it's so underrated. And it could be my learning style too. So I'm speaking to those folks that like to put their hands in things. I'm a paper girl, so
yeah,
I like to write things down. So I prioritize the basic things like what time the kids have to get up to school, what time they have to be picked up, if there's an after school program, whatever. But I made it a point to block off time for me to explore my art and to hone in on my craft and participate in different activities. And the lab that we call the lab, I call the lab, is the open mics. So I started scheduling those in
mhm,
as part of my day, and things that I was going to do to get better at this new thing that I loved. And the more I got on stage, the more alive I came, and I just knew that this was my path. And it just became priority. So this full time, it'll be 5 years this August, and it's it's happening. Is what I'm saying. It's happening.
yeah, yeah, it is happening.
Everything is just coming into place, and again, it's so not what it seems. There's so much hard work that goes on behind the
Mhm,
scenes. There's so much that goes on with connecting and establishing relationships and making sure that you are as possible at all times. And I think that those are some of the qualities that separate me from other folks. They can understand clearly that I'm serious about it. I've been always responsible and communication, you know what I mean, with the promoter or my artist if I happen to be producing a show. So it just started unfolding. But how I made it happen is I prioritized it in my schedule, and I took a leap.
Mm-hmm.
Hear that often. Oh, take the leap. Just you got to dive into it. You really, really do. And even if that means scaling your life down, because I did do that. I scaled my lifestyle down because my money was different.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't settle for short. I call short money. Short money is the salary that I could have acquired if I went ahead and picked up another job after my
Yeah.
mom passed and still tried to juggle that while chasing my dream. You have to let go of something. And I refuse to
Yeah.
let go of my dream. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, sounds a little crazy, but it's not. And I think we all can do an assessment, like a life assessment. Even like for myself, as my life changed and my family got smaller, why would I then require such a big space? You can scale down. You can do it. And I think folks get caught up about what other people are going to think about them, how
Mm-hmm.
you're going to look as opposed to what's beneficial to you and what serves you and your goals and
Yeah.
your dream. And home is wherever you are when you're together. It's not a zip code.
Yeah.
It's not an address, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I probably sound a little all over the place, but I'm trying to make sure that I make the point that
It's not all over the place and nobody's judging you. It's your story. And if those have a problem, they can just stop listening right now. That's it. So
Done.
that I mean it's plain and simple, right?
Yeah.
Um so I find it very amusing that and very interesting, right? I've done over 150 of these, stories. And
Hmm.
there is one thing in common of everyone I have interviewed, everyone that has been here, everyone that I have connected with, everyone that is now in my life and have some source of significance in the growth of myself or others, and it's sacrifice, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
You cannot go on the world and think that everything is just going to happen magically. There
No.
is sacrifice that is always involved in order for you to say, shit, all right, gotta get this done. This is my push through. This is what I need to do. Sometimes it's optional. Sometimes it comes by, situations like unfortunate
Hmm.
situations.
Hmm.
Um, but those are learning experiences that are telling you you are meant for more and you will achieve
Yeah.
more if you are willing to sacrifice in order to get there,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
you, I with time I'm very like, and one question I always get is like, how you do it? How you do all of these things? How you
Hmm.
have like, this company, and you always in all the events, and you have this podcast, and you have all these things.
Hmm.
And I'm like, because I do a very good use of my time. I also recognize when it's time to work and to put, my head down, when it's time to be home. And
Right.
expectations are important. So I don't know how you manage that, but I tell, my family, my daughter, my husband and I, they know I'm sacrificing some of the time that I could be spending with them
Right.
in order to do certain things that are going to help us, because this is for them, for me, for
Yes.
us as a family, right?
Yes. Yes.
And they understand that and they support that. So I think setting that expectation sometimes is what drives people to fail, because they think, or people believe, that you can have it both ways, and you really can't. Sacrifice is necessary.
Right.
So Tell me a little bit about what that sacrifice meant and means to you, right? Because
Mhm,
we all have that fuel. I think,
mhm,
talking for myself, um, there is this fuel in me that I said, yes, I could have been having dinner with my family today. I am not. So I'm going to
mhm.
make this worth it. Right.
Yes,
So tell me what that sacrifice means to you.
right. So I love the fact that you brought your family in because I did that instantly.
Mhm.
There's always been a drive in me for more, and there was times in my life where I tried to kind of push it down. Then I wonder, why can't I just be like everybody else? So we work a job for 20 years and then
Mhm.
retire and just be happy in that little space, thinking that there's something wrong with me. There's not anything
Mhm.
wrong with me. What's wrong with me is me trying to force down greatness.
Mhm.
And it's not like I'm greater than anybody else. Everybody has something.
Mhm.
And the people that I'm admiring saying that they stayed there for the 20 years in the South Lake, I don't know how much they were suppressing. And although they may have looked the part, they could have been very depressed in my absence, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I always wonder, well, why couldn't my life be a little bit more simple? But the moment that I started again feeding it and started exploring, um, that's when I was at my happiest.
Mhm.
So, how I chose to use the sacrifice of my time, I incorporated my family. My
Mhm.
very first entrepreneurial opportunity was candles. I used to sell party light candles. I do parties, and it was just this whole big thing. And of course, never made it to Bermuda. I never got the company car or or the trip down. Still waiting to hear
Yes.
that I'm not happening fast enough. I didn't think the candles are gone. Okay, the candles, the light went out. It went out. Um,
Oh, you're too
but
funny.
the point was, I had my oldest three, and I pulled them in, and they were my packers, right? So they would pack my little. I had a little buggy that I put all the candles in for my display. So when I set everything up, and
Yeah.
they would do like set up small orders or things like that. So I tried to involve them, so
Yeah.
they understood more
Wow.
when I was gone, what I was doing, because they were a part of it. They helped me
Mhm.
set up. So mommy, they set me off to go and do my thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in wellness coaching, which that's something that's just now starting to rev back up. Um, Total Life Changes, I had my younger two, and they had their uniform. I got them a T-shirt, and I gave them certain products that they could do. Like when I was tabling at a fest, they would hand out my card with my information and my link and all that on it. I gave them
Yeah.
a cooler of waters to say, so I incorporated them in.
Yeah.
So the sacrifice didn't have to be painful.
Mhm.
You can snatch back control of that and incorporate the ones that you love or you think you're cheating and take them on your journey in
Yeah.
their own capacity. So they were just kids at the time, like really young. Well, but they can do something. And they were
Yeah.
excited. So we go on live in the car. It's like, hey, we're going and we're gonna be down here. We all had our little shirts on, and you know what I mean? It was all color coded, and we're just doing it, you know? And
Yeah.
the same with comedy. Like I let them know when I have shows. My daughter, I was like, hey, what do you think about this outfit? Or you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and we chat and we talk. And sometimes when I'm having a hard time or if I think like I'm super nervous about this, oh, what's wrong, mommy? I get so usually so confident. And but I involve them in
Yeah.
how I kind of make up for some of it. But I do sometimes still feel, I think I do a good job. I think even as a mom, it hits us a little deeper when it comes
Yeah.
to that because we feel somehow utterly responsible for our children's emotion. But I can tell
Mhm.
you, my greatest gift to them, your greatest gift to your children, is them watching you live your dream.
Mhm.
Them
Because you teach them that
watching,
anything is possible.
yes, and that we're not
Yes.
always going to be here, and you have to
Yeah.
learn to manage when I'm absent to be okay.
Mhm.
And then when
Agreed.
I'm done with this thing, I will be there for you. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Like I can't be, because before you, I was a whole person.
Right.
A sister, I'm a daughter, I'm an
Yeah.
auntie, I'm a best friend, I'm a cousin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we remind them, but we also remind ourselves that we are more than just a mom.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's a great, so this is not planned at all. I just want people to know that. But that was a great segue because you opened your show with a sentence somewhat like that. And my question to you about the comedy, about that segment that I
Uh-huh.
watch of you was about the reward of recognizing that above all those things,
Mm-hmm.
you still a woman and you
Yes.
still this person that wants to experience this and do that, and you're sexy and you are all these things that have nothing to do with labels of, I'm a mom or I'm this and these things. And you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned you mentioned um a situation about, a bar and younger kids and all
Oh
this
yes,
stuff. So
yes.
I guess my question to you is, how does it feel and how does it, I don't know, I guess, how does it feel to find that woman back
Mm-hmm.
that it still feels sexy and it still feels empowered and it still feels that she can conquer the world, because you went through an amazing journey, and through comedy now you can translate that message of empowerment to
Right.
women that sometimes are feeling that they are just a mom, especially those
Mm-hmm.
that had younger children, right? Those that are the 1 to 5 year old moms that are like out there, like,
Mm-hmm.
they some of them don't feel sexy, some of them don't feel like that they're anything like they were before, right?
Right.
So tell me about the impact of, you being able to transmit that message and making women feel that, you know, they got this. You're going to get back there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And being okay with some of the body changes and some of the
Right. Right.
things that we're just never going to get back. And it's fine because we're not supposed to, because we have these amazing little people
Yeah.
sitting next to us. And that is the gift of the result of the change. um, it's so good to know that it's being translated, that I am
Yeah.
empowering folks and making them feel like it is okay to put on some lipstick, or have a girls' night out. I mean, just I was just
Yeah.
excited with how many ladies came out, and they some of them left some little 1 to 5 year olds at the house because they were laughing with us, and and enjoying the company and the food and all the fun.
Yeah.
Um, I to be transparent, don't always feel sexy myself, so it helps to have that platform to share that with you guys, because as I'm speaking with you and I'm laughing with you, I'm also healing myself.
Yeah.
I work from home. I gained 24 pounds. That was actually real. 24 pounds I gained this past year with that I call the slow brew, the consistent 1.5, 2 pounds a month.
We are all there.
I'm very short, so I
Trying to
get into
shut
the
it
right.
off, but we can't.
Girl, I am rolling around in here. I am rolling around. But I decided to love myself well. I didn't say love myself thin. I know that that's a common phrase, but it's not about being thin. Thin is not always healthy. Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
just going to love myself healthy. And I have a plan in place. Again, just using my wellness part of the business that I just started. I have all the tools. I just need to put myself first. And yes, that makes me feel good that people got the message, because you don't always know on this side. Even when people are
Of
laughing, you don't know
course.
that they
Well,
really get it. So I enjoy the feedback.
you have, let's say, there was 80 people in the room. You have 80 different points of view, right?
Yes,
Like, it's just,
yes,
you never know what's going to hit home. Like, you
true.
never know.
That is so
But
true.
I do think that, uh, the message that you give is pretty clear, right?
Right.
It's pretty clear. It was clear to me. So I hope that it was clear
You
to
got this
others, but
magic.
it was clear to me.
Good.
So and then they can watch this and clarify themselves. So
That's right.
so I think
Yeah.
it's amazing that throughout this journey, um being able to not just invest in yourself but fulfill that emptiness that once was there, right?
Right.
um and in pursuit of those of that dream, you found yourself again, and I think that's the most beautiful thing. And of course, we continue to develop and grow and learn, and every
Mm-hmm.
day we learn something new about ourselves that we didn't know before. But
Yeah.
it is an amazing journey that
Mm-hmm.
you can say, I'm stepping into my power, and I know where I want to go, and
That's right.
I'm just gonna ride the wave, and it's okay with me. So just understanding that
Mm-hmm.
you are on that journey and that you're embracing that journey is pretty amazing. And I think it's amazing for everyone that it's
Yes.
spending time with you, right? Because it's transferable. Like you're talking
Yes.
about it, somebody else is gonna hear it, they're gonna join, they're gonna talk
Yes.
about it too, so it just keeps flowing, and
I
that's
love it.
that's an incredible feeling and something amazing to see.
Yeah.
um so just to close into wrap up I feel like I have still many questions, but we'll do a part two.
Sounds
um
good. Sounds good.
we'll do a
Yeah.
part two, and maybe we'll throw some comedy in there.
I
um
love it.
but one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
What will be a message that you will want to give? Because we are very different in age. Like, I am much younger than you are. um but I don't feel that it's never too late. I feel that it's never too late. And
Mm-hmm.
you said you found your passion after your 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Not find it, but embraced it, right? You embraced it after your 40s. So what will you tell women that, let's say, are on that midlife, trying to figure out, or they're scared of taking the
Mm-hmm.
step because they've had 25 years under their belt doing something different, but that's not fulfilling them?
Mm-hmm.
What message do you have for them today?
Take the leap. Take the leap.
I,
No, honestly,
I knew you were gonna say that.
there's no magic wand. There's no other way to get it done. And I think you touched on that. You just have to do it. If Tina Turner at 42 years old can reinvent herself in a whole
Mm,
nother genre of music and work her behind off from the ground up,
yeah,
you can do it too. And to be honest, she was my mentor, and I throw her out there not because she was recently lost, but because
yeah,
I thought of her the whole time. And there was a couple times I got mistaken for her. It was like, I was like, oh, it was like a joke because now it's Shaka
yeah,
Khan, of course. Um, but I call myself the Tina Turner of comedy because I was 45 at the time,
yeah,
and so it was like I was in that middle, and it's like I'll be your private dancer kind of a thing. But you deserve it. I want to tell them that you deserve it.
yeah,
Take the leap. If it's in you and you have that little burning in your belly, that is just confirmation that it's already yours. You just have to take the steps towards it to receive the blessing. And the
yeah.
worst thing that you can do right now is to be buried with it.
Yep.
Our stories are our life challenges, but they don't necessarily belong to us. The challenges that we go through, the things that happen in our life are meant to be shared because you are somebody else's blessing. Someone is waiting to hear your story. You went
Hmm.
through those things, you conquered those things, you won that battle. It wasn't a mistake. It was because you were supposed to be a testament. Your testimony is waiting for someone else's ear because with that story being released, you save lives and you help people do the same.
You
Every
do.
time that you come in fully yourself, you give others permissions to do the same.
And that's the reason we do these podcasts.
That's it.
I'm gonna take. Can I take that and use it as a commercial? Because that's our whole reason. That's our
Wow.
whole reason.
See?
You know, we never know what life we're gonna touch with our stories,
Right.
regardless if you are 100 years old wise, or
Mm-hmm.
you're 50, or you're 20, or you're 15. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't say old, because you get wiser.
There's no
So it's
yeah.
15 years wise, 25, 30, you know, 100. Um,
Right.
everyone has the power to change somebody else's life, and I truly believe that, and that's the whole reason why we do this, is because every single interaction, we don't know who's listening, we don't know who's watching,
It's
we
true.
don't know who needs to hear it, we don't know what people is struggling with. People could be open, but they're not that open, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So you're never going to know someone's 100% struggle. You will know 50%, but you don't know that 100%. And you have no idea how much you can change someone by just being present, or
Right.
sharing, or just, you know, smiling, right?
Right.
I learned that a
Right.
smile can change lives, right?
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
use the power of your voice, use the power of your story, you know, through podcast, through comedy. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter the outlet, is
That's
the
right.
story. Because I mean, honestly, I didn't start it liking comedy until recently, because I'm like, oh, why am I, because I didn't understand it,
Right.
right? Because that's something I didn't grow up with. I didn't grow up exposed to that, right?
Gotcha.
But
Yeah.
my husband loves it, especially if it's dirty, right? Like, he loves it.
I got a couple shows
So
I gotta share with him.
yeah.
I'm not on
So
it.
he, he started what he watches is on, like, now there is like 1,000 gazillion things on Netflix you can watch for comedy
Oh yeah.
shows and stuff like that. There's some that I can still not, like, comprehend, right? Because, one, even though I'm bilingual and everything, English is not my first language.
Right.
So there are certain words that I'm still like, what did he say?
Right. Right. Right.
Especially his slang. I'm
Yeah.
like, I didn't grow up on the streets. I don't know what the hell that means.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I just
Right.
don't know.
I don't know what that
So,
gesture was.
so I have to, like, listen attentively in order
Right.
to understand. But comedy is a story. Comedy is a story.
Mhm.
Every single ending ties to the beginning.
Right. Yes.
Every single. And I went to the only so I've been in two in-person comedy shows, uh of, like, well-known people, right?
Mm-hmm.
One was is it Crystalia, I think.
Mm.
it, is it Crystalia? Oh my god, you see, I don't even know their names. No, he no, I think that's him. Let me see. I think. I don't know. He's very funny. He's a
Okay.
skinny, tall guy. Anyways, my
Mm-hmm.
husband wanted to watch him in Mohegan. We went there. It took me like half of the show to figure out what we were talking about, but I made it. And then I went to watch. He died recently. Is it Eddie Murphy's brother, Charlie Murphy?
Yeah. Oh, you got to see Charlie.
I
Wow.
did. I did. And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh, but it was very interesting to me that um, com- uh, his entire show,
Mm-hmm.
even though it was funny as hell, it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It was around his wife passing away.
Wow. Oh yeah. Oh, Definitely.
A-
Yeah.
And that really intrigued me. And
Yep.
that was a couple years ago. That
Mhm.
was my first show ever. He came to Foxwoods and I saw that. And after that I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a try.
Yep.
So it is very interesting that even the saddest of stories can be converted into something magical, right? So the power that we all have in order to transform, transform points of views, transform thoughts, transform someone's humor, transform anything really,
Mhm.
lies within the power of you embracing what that situation really means to you and how do you use it, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
thank you for existing. Thank you so much for like, you know, taking this stand and, making it not just a show to make people laugh, but it
Mhm.
is a learning experience. And
Yes.
I think, those that listen attentively can definitely capture that. So I appreciate you being here.
Thanks for
I
having me.
appreciate you sharing your story and keep making us smile and teaching us,
Absolutely.
different things through your stories.
You too. Do the same for allowing this platform to share with other women and other folks that are listening. That they can do the same. They can do the same.
Awesome.
I appreciate
Well,
you.
before we leave,
Uh-huh.
can you tell us where can people find you?
Oh,
How can
sure.
they book you for?
Hmm.
And your social handles so people can follow you.
Oh, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. My whole government name, Latasha Hughes Thomasson. And yeah, you can book me usually by messenger, or email. Favorite
Well,
neighborhood girl. Yep, your favorite neighborhood girl. .com. Oh no, I'm sorry, at gmail.com. Yeah, favorite neighborhood
your
girl at
favorite neighborhood
gmail.
girl at gmail.com.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah.
Awesome. Where everybody, there you have it. Latasha Hughes Thompson. And she's
Mhm.
your favorite neighborhood girl. And she's an amazing comedian and amazing woman. And we cannot wait to see your next show for sure.
Yay.
And thank you for being here, being honest, being real. I think, the world deserves to hear your story, and you deserve everything that's coming your
Oh,
way.
thank you so much.
You are very welcome. So there you have it, guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.